Yeah, I got your message, Divyanshi. Okay, fine. Okay, I've again taken a particular diagram. Okay, as you know, this is the bud. Okay, this is the stem, the leaves, the root, the soil layer. Okay, and the underground system. Okay, now this particular roots, okay, absorb water from a region called as zone of penetration. When the water percolates within the ground surface, it goes up to a particular level, it goes up to a particular layer where little bit of water remains and is made available to the roots. Okay, that is called as, specifically called as zone of penetration. Of course, not much focus is required on this particular, this is just for information. Okay, so from that particular layer, the roots receive the water and send to all the parts of the plant. Okay, now we know that the plants require certain raw materials in order to synthesize a particular food. Now, which type of food is synthesized? Whenever plant, okay, in the presence of photosynthesis, make use of simple compounds. Now, what are those simple compounds? Carbon dioxide. Okay, in the presence of light, by making use of the green pigment, that is the chlorophyll. What the plants do, okay, they prepare food. Now, when they prepare a particular food, there is a particular type of food which is synthesized and stored. Of course, we know that the particular type of food which is synthesized, that is carbohydrate. Which type of carbohydrate is synthesized? Okay, it is synthesized or it is produced, okay, in the form of a monosaccharide. You have studied monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharides last year in chemistry, as well as to some extent in biology. Okay, when one particular sugar molecule is combined, that is a monosaccharide. Okay, when two chains, disaccharide, when many, it is a polysaccharide. Okay, now here the food which is synthesized, that is glucose. Okay, but glucose cannot provide that much energy which is required by the plant to carry forward the transport and the storage mechanism. ग्लूकोज अगर ऐसे ही पूरे प्लांट्स में जा रहा है, ब्रेक नहीं हो रहा है, then plants cannot utilize that particular glucose cannot be stored, that particular glucose cannot be transported. So what the plant cells do, okay, so what the plant organelles do, what happens inside the plant organelle is this particular glucose gets converted into a polysaccharide. That is nothing but the sucrose. Okay, where is that synthesized? That is synthesized and stored in a particular organ of the plant that is called as leaf. Okay, so roots take up the water, send in the upward direction, whereas the food which is synthesized in the leaf has to come down towards the root. Okay, as well as it has to move up towards the bud region so that the whole development of the plant occurs in a proper way. Now, yesterday also we have seen, now here, this is just a particular plant. This is coco pit, not soil. Okay, you can even grow plants in coco pit. Okay, now see here, if I show this particular structure, okay, the distance between the root, the soil, and suppose there are leaves on this. Okay, so the distance between the soil, the root, and the leaves which are there, if that particular distance is very lesser, it is very easy for transportation of all that material. Okay, here see the root, okay, the leaves, and the soil. If suppose it is in the soil, the distance between the root, the soil, of course the stem carries, okay, and the leaf is not that higher. Okay, so the transport mechanism by a process of diffusion becomes much easier. So diffusion occurs across the wall, diffusion takes place, exchange of materials takes place, transportation of material takes place easily. Absorption of material, essential nutrients from the soil takes place at a much easier rate. But as far as the taller trees are concerned, for example, Ashoka, for example, neem, for example, gulmohar, for example, coconut tree, and n number of trees which are taller. Okay, so if the tree is taller, the distance between the soil, root, and the leaves is much higher. Okay, so the transport mechanism will take a longer period of time. in order to transport all these particular substances which are there in the soil. Okay, now as far as the roots are concerned, okay, the roots take up near about 6 essential nutrients that are present in the soil. Okay, there are lot of things, lot of nutrients which are present in the soil. But when we count, there are 6 major nutrients. This is a very important question for 1 mark. The 6 essential nutrients which are present in the soil, they include nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, okay, sulfur as well as calcium. I'll repeat, okay, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, sulfur and calcium. These are the 6 essential nutrients which are present in the soil. So these nutrients are taken by the roots from the soil and it is transported upwards, okay, so that these nutrients along with the water reaches to each and every part of that particular plant body. So if the distance is much lesser, transport system becomes easy because diffusion occurs and easy transport occur. Understanding? Such a transport mechanism wherein there is no requirement of energy, okay, energy की जरूरत नहीं है, easy transport हो जाता है, okay, the transport becomes much easier, there is no requirement of energy. Such a type of transport is called as passive transport. What it is called? Passive transport. Okay, so the entire root which is underground, this particular root will take up the water from the soil. Okay, along with the water, it will take up all the nutrients, basically 6 essential nutrients, remember. Okay, all those 6 essential nutrients, sorry, will be taken up by the root from the soil and it will be transported in the upward direction and it will reach to each and every part of that particular plant body. Okay, now if the concentration of the soil and the cells of the root doesn't match, the transport mechanism is not proper. Okay, आराम से transport नहीं हो सकता. Okay, soil is having water. The concentration of water in the soil is much higher as compared to the concentration of water which is present in the root cells. Okay, or the cells of the roots which are in direct connection with the soil. Okay, if I take this particular root, okay, this upward you can see only this much structure, but maximum are present inside. So here you can see this is coming out from here, see, okay, this particular structure. Okay, so deep inside there are roots which are present. So those roots will have the cells which are in direct contact with the soil. Okay, so if the concentration of water in the soil and the cells present in that particular root which is in direct contact with the soil doesn't match, then the transport mechanism is not proper. So what happens from the region of zone of penetration, the water percolates inside the root and by the time it reaches up to the layer of the soil, okay, the concentration becomes similar or somewhat equal so that all the nutrients, all the minerals, all the materials which are present in the soil can be transported along with the water via the roots to all the parts of that particular plant body. This is what happens. Okay, now the leaf, okay, synthesize food. So whatever food is synthesized, let's say carbohydrates, okay, that is a food which is synthesized and transported. Now if a particular plant, let's say this particular plant is having n number of stored food material. Okay, now this stored food materials, it is having excess amount of stored food material. So what the plant will do? The plant will pass that excess of food material, stored food material towards the root or any modified structure of that particular root. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा है, food बहुत ज़्यादा बन रहा है. Understanding? And when is this food prepared at the maximum level? It is prepared during the photosynthetic reaction in the presence of light. So what the plants do, whatever food is synthesized by them by the process of photosynthesis, they transfer that particular food towards the root. How this transport occurs, we will see within a minute. Okay, but understand the process and basic thing. Okay, that is transported towards the root or any modifications of that particular root. Okay, and these modifications we call as storage organs. Okay, see, this is a modified root. I've taken example of carrot. Okay, so what will I imagine? There are leafy structures above this, and this is underground. This is a modified root. Okay, so what happens? Whatever material is being stored, whatever material or whatever extra food is being synthesized, that food will go underground. That food will go underground. Okay, and is stored in this particular structure, is stored in a modified root. So whenever the particular plant is not able to synthesize food, for example, in winter season, light is lesser. Okay, so in the absence or lack of light, the plants are not able to synthesize their food because there is no photosynthesis properly. Okay, so naturally what the plants do, whatever food is being synthesized, okay, during the presence of light by the process of photosynthesis, if it is excess, okay, that goes from the plant region, that particular food will go and it is stored in a particular structure. Okay, here in this case, it is a modified root. I've taken example of carrot. And such organs which store the particular food, that is called as storage organs. What are they called? Storage organs. So whenever there is lack of light, whenever there is, suppose it's a rainy season, there is no light. Okay, it is winter season, the light amount or intensity of that particular light is lesser. Okay, so plants can utilize the stored food material. Okay, again the stored food material comes up and it goes to each and every part of that particular plant body. Okay, this is a modified root. This here is example is of a carrot. Now storage organs can be of n number of types. Okay, here a modified root can be a storage organ. Now as far as a garlic or onion, as far as a garlic or onion is concerned, these are bulbs. Okay, bulbs can be the storage organs. Okay, this is rhizome. Okay, I've taken example of ginger. Okay, ginger is a rhizome. Okay, garlic is a bulb. Okay, onion, garlic, these all are bulbs. Ginger is a rhizome. It is a modified, okay, a root, or it is also called as storage organs. Okay, and here I've taken tuber. Potato is a tuber. This is also, you can see here. Okay, yeah, this is a tuber. These all things we know, but basic things are very important so that we can easily answer in the exam. Okay, yeah. So this is a tuber. This is also a storage organ. So whenever excess food is there, that food is transported underground to a particular storage organ, any modified root, tuber, okay, any modified root, tuber, or a bulb, or a rhizome, or a different thing which is called as corm. Okay, if you identify this particular vegetable, okay, it is called as taro, or if I say in Hindi, it is called as arbi. Okay, we all know this, we eat this. Okay, now this is called as corm, C-O-R-M. Okay, not corn, corm, C-O-R-M. This is also a particular modified root which is a storage organ. Okay, so how many storage organs we learn? We learn modified root. Okay, example carrot you can give, radish. Okay, a tuber, sweet potato, potato. Okay, rhizome. Ginger is a very good example of rhizome. Okay, bulb, that is garlic. Okay, onion, this is shallot I have taken. Okay, this is a particular bulb. It is called as bulb, which is a storage organ. All these are present underground. Okay, so whenever excess food is present in a particular plant, in order to actually balance the amount of food when it is not available, okay, when light is not available, when the plants are not able to synthesize the food, this stored food, okay, is utilized by the plants, and again from the modified route, okay, it goes in the upward direction and made available to each and every part of this particular plant. I hope this much is 101% clear. Okay, so remember here, remember few things. First is how many type of transport systems are there. Okay, there are two types of transport system. One is a passive transport system, another one is an active transport system. Active है, ज़्यादा energy लगेगा. I'm very active. Okay, I'm very active. Okay, it requires more energy. I'm passive. Okay, मुझसे नहीं होगा, मुझसे काम नहीं होगा. Understanding, I am passive. Okay, easily मेरा काम चल जाता है. I am passively participating. I am not actively participating. I am actively participating. I will take initiative to do things. Okay, that is active. So if it is active, क्या use हो रहा है? Energy use हो रहा है. Understanding. Okay, so that particular energy is required to send the food from the leaves towards the lower part, that is towards the root, and from the leaves in the upward direction towards the bud or all other parts of that particular plant body. So here, last thing which I didn't repeat, this is com. Okay, Arabi, or it's called taro in English. Okay, now in order for transporting, okay, in order for transporting the entire water, minerals, or as far as the food material is concerned, okay, there are basically two types of tissues which are responsible for transportation of all of the material. Now we have studied the cross section. Okay, remember we have studied the cross section of the leaf. In that particular cross section, we have seen the palisade cells, okay, the spongy cells. Okay, so we have seen palisade cells and the spongy cells. Now, in between this palisade and the spongy cell, there is a particular bundle sheet. I'm going slow because this is very important to understand. Okay, so there is a bundle sheet. Okay, and within this bundle sheet, the center, and there is a tissue surrounding it. Okay, and in between the central tissue, there are some structures like this. Okay, so this, if I take the section of a particular leaf, cross section of a leaf, I can see palisade layer. Okay, this what I'm showing a particular, okay, part which is present inside the leaf. Okay, so this particular palisade layer and the spongy layer, in between them, there is a bundle sheet which is present. Okay, and this particular bundle sheet comprises of some kinds of tissues. Basically, four types of tissues. Okay, at the center, okay, xylem is present. Surrounding it, phloem and some parenchymatous cells are present, parenchyma, and a layer which separates this particular xylem and phloem, that is called as cambium or cambial cells. So where it is present? Within the leaf structure, within the root structure, within the stem structure. Leaves में भी होता है, root में भी होता है, stem में भी होता है, all the tissues. Understanding? Okay, so in the leaf, here I have taken example of a leaf because food is synthesized on the leaf. Okay, so palisade layer, spongy layer. What are these palisade and spongy layers? These are mesophilic cells, type of mesophilic cells. So इनके बीच में, okay, vascular sheet is present, or bundle sheet is present. Sorry, bundle sheet is present. Okay, and this particular bundle sheets will have tissues. Okay, and they are called as vascular bundles or vascular tissues. So the entire vascular bundle will have vascular tissues. And how many types of vascular tissues? 4 types of vascular tissues are there. Okay, in the book specifications are not given, simply it is written xylem and phloem. But when we say botanically, 4 types of vascular tissues are present: xylem, phloem, parenchyma and cambium. Okay, xylem helps in the transportation of water and some minerals. Phloem helps in the transportation of food material. Okay, parenchymatous cells, which are the live cells, whether it is xylem or phloem, they constitute xylem and phloem. Parenchymatous cell constitute xylem and phloem. So they are associated with xylem and phloem. Okay. So what they will do, these parenchyma cells, these parenchymatous cells, 1 minute. I'm not going to stop today, don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Let me teach. Okay, so this particular parenchymatous. Good boy, good boy. Good. I'm sorry, girls. This is a condition of all the teachers during online teaching. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he's gone. I'm not going to stop today. All right. So, at the said, break for you also. Okay, continuously you are listening to me. A small break for you. So, at the center, there is xylem, surrounding that phloem, as well as the parenchymatous cells which are present. And separating the phloem as well as the xylem, in between there is a structure that is called as cambium or cambial cells. That cambium will have cambial cells. Okay. Now, both these structures, let us understand both of these particular structures in detail. Okay. Now, if I consider, okay, I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, if I consider xylem and phloem, okay, there are some difference in between xylem and phloem. Okay. Basically, the xylem, okay, is made up of, maximum it is made up of dead cells. So simply we say xylem is made up of dead cells. Okay. Phloem is a live cell. Okay. The only living cell in xylem is the parenchyma, xylem parenchyma. Okay. So as far as xylem and phloem is concerned, let's see what are the difference in between all of them. Okay. Let's see the different characteristic between the xylem and phloem. Now, the wall of this particular xylem is not perforated. Perforated means यहाँ पे ऐसे gap दिखेगा. Okay, but here it is not perforated. It is one hard structure. Okay, this one hard structure. Why it is a one hard structure? Because this particular xylem is maximum made up of dead cells. Okay, now dead tissue, dead cells, dead elements, whatever. Reference books, it is written dead elements. Okay, so the wall is much thicker and lignified. Lignified means what? The wall is made up of lignin. Okay, so this particular xylem helps in the transport, okay, of what? Of water. Okay, and its wall is hard, much harder, because it is made up of dead cell except parenchyma. Okay, so it is a lignified wall. I'm not going into detail because already in 9th standard we have learned detail of every structure. But at the end of this class, I will show you the diagram of all of these structures. Okay, so this particular structure, the xylem, okay, it has lignified wall. It helps in the transport of water. As far as phloem is concerned, here concentratively understand this design and then you can easily remember everything. Okay, it doesn't have a lignified wall. Then what is present in the wall? The wall is not that thick as compared to xylem. Okay, the wall is much thinner and the wall is made up of something which is called as cellulose. So lignified wall, cellulosic wall. Okay, and associated with this particular phloem, there are certain cells which we will be going in detail. Okay, first let us understand what happens as far as xylem is concerned. So xylem, which is having a lignified wall, it is made up of its components. Okay, we have already studied the components in our 9th standard, but as far as this year is concerned, you just have to see it. Okay, no need to by heart it, no need to remember the structure of it. We have already done in 9th standard. Okay, so xylem is made up of tracheids. This is how a trachid looks. Okay, it has pits open. Okay, see, there are pits. Okay, if I cut open, I will be able to see the tracheids under electron microscope, not under compound microscope. Okay, so these are the tracheids. So xylem is made up of xylem tracheids and xylem vessels. Okay, now typically this is a particular xylem vessel. Okay, it is made up of xylem parenchyma and it is made up of xylem fiber. Don't by heart this, just observe it. Okay, so what are the components of xylem? Xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. Same way, the phloem, okay, which is present, the phloem will also have a particular structure, that is the phloem sieve tubes, okay, or simply we call it as a sieve element if I use this diagram. Okay, remember this. Okay, so what are the components as far as phloem is concerned? Okay, the phloem has sieve elements, okay, which is made up of sieve tubes, sieve cells, and sieve plate. Sieve plate we don't specify, we say sieve tubes and sieve cells. Sieve क्या होता है? छन्नी. Understanding? So there are sieve plates. Okay, because it is like sieve, the materials can be easily passed on to that particular perforations which are present on the sieve plates. Okay, so these sieve elements, they have sieve tubes which is made up of sieve cells. Just outside the sieve element, okay, there are some cells, okay, which are called as, we usually call it as life partners of sieve elements. Okay, sieve tubes ke life partners. Okay, because why? Because they accompany sieve tubes and they are called companion cells. Okay, what are they called? Companion cells. Why are they called companion cells? Because companion cells ke bina sieve tubes kuch bhi nahi hai. Understanding? They need support of companion cells. Okay, so they are called as companion cells. And phloem parenchyma, okay, which helps in the storage and transport of the food, okay, and phloem fibers. Okay, so the component as far as xylem is concerned are the xylem tracheids, xylem fibers, xylem vessels, and xylem parenchyma. Out of all these, only xylem parenchyma is the living tissue. So we simply say xylem tissue, xylem cells are dead. They are lignified and sclarified. Okay, lignified, remember this particular word, lignified. Why lignified? Because their walls, which are much thicker, they contain a particular component called lignin, which makes them much harder, much stronger. Okay, so they are made up of, walls are made up of lignin, so the wall is called as lignified wall. Okay, the xylem tracheids and xylem vessel are the main structures which help in the transportation, okay, of water and certain constituents, certain certain minerals from the root in the upward direction. Now, how does this occur? Okay, now we already know that from the surface of the leaf, okay, through the stomatal structure, transpiration occurs. Okay, what is transpiration? When the water is removed from the surface of the leaf in the form of vapor, that is called as transpiration. Okay, so water is lost. Kab hota hai ye? During the photosynthetic reaction, when the stomata is open. Okay, when the particular stomata is open, there is loss of water from the surface of the leaf. Now, if continuously this water is getting lost, it may create damage to the plants. Yes or no? So what the plants will do, because the water is lost in the form of vapor, okay, to manipulate that particular loss, okay, to control that particular loss, to manage that particular loss, what the plants do, the plants, okay, the cells, the tissues, the vascular tissues of the particular plant creates pressure. Okay, and this particular pressure is called as suction pressure. Okay, and this particular pressure is created on the roots of that particular plant, that is called as root pressure. What it is called? Root pressure. Okay, so the xylem of a particular root creates pressure. Okay, pressure aa jata hai. Understanding? So what happens when this particular loss takes place through the surface of the leaf? Pressure is created by the tissue, and that particular pressure is exerted from the root. So that is called root pressure. Okay, now with because of this particular root pressure, the cells, what they do, the xylem cells, what they do, the xylem tissue, what they do, they pull the entire water, okay, in the upward direction, okay, with lot of force. Okay, it is pulled in the upward direction straight away till the apex of that particular plant, and from the apex it is diverted to different parts of that particular plant. Okay, to explain this in a proper way, I use a particular example which I had given yesterday, but I'll repeat. Okay, you are drinking Coke, you open the Coke bottle, you insert a straw in that, and you're sucking the fluid. Okay, so the fluid is entering from the bottom region into the straw with a pressure. This is called suction pressure. What it is called? Suction pressure. And why this happen? क्यों होता है ये? In order to manipulate, in order to manage the loss of water by the process of transpiration. उसको manage करने के लिए, okay, there is a pull, and this pull is called as transpirational pull. And the pressure is created on the root, and the root pressure is maximum during the night hours. Why root pressure is maximum during the night hours? Because stomata is closed during the night hours. Okay, so अंदर ही अंदर pressure create होता रहता है. Okay, the water cannot ooze out, water cannot escape out. So during the night hours, it is preparation for the next photosynthetic, next transpirational process. Okay, so during the daytime, okay, water is removed in the form of vapors by a process called transpiration to manage the loss. What the tissues will do, what the xylem tissues will do, what the structural tissues will do, they will create pressure. Where? On the root. Okay, and because the pressure is created on the root, the water is pumped, water is pulled, okay, with maximum pressure in the upward direction. This water, as it is pulled, जोर से जैसे कोई मुझे खींच रहा है, understanding, this pressure is very high, okay, and it is maximum during the night time when the stomata are closed, because stomata closed है, okay, so अंदर ही अंदर pressure create होता है, understanding. So maximum root pressure, this can be a give reason why the root pressure is maximum during the night hours. Why? Because stomata is closed during the night time, so internal pressure created by the root is maximum. In the next photosynthetic reaction, again transpiration occurs. Okay, and what is the use of this transpiration? Not only it enables the plant to receive every element in proper amount, but also it maintains humidity. It helps in temperature regulation. हमारा ये ecosystem, ये temperature, okay, it is maintained in a soothing way under normal conditions because of this particular transpirational process. So this particular mechanism, okay, of pulling or moving the entire water in an upward direction, okay, this flow we call as unidirectional flow. What is it called? Unidirectional flow. Okay, and this particular flow in upward direction, that we call as ascent of sap, ASCENT of sap. Okay, cell sap. Sap is a fluid which is present in the cell. So ascent means ऊपर की तरफ. So ascent of sap means ऊपर की तरफ liquid का जाना. कौन सा liquid? जो cells में present है, जो plant cell में present है. Understanding? So that liquid has to raise up. Okay, so that is called asset of sap. Understanding? I hope you are at most clear with this topic. Okay, if not, please ask. Okay, now let us move towards another important structure. This is my favorite structure. Okay, so as far as the phloem structure is concerned, the wall of this particular phloem is perforated. Okay, it is not continuous. Why? Because it is a live tissue, it is a living cell. Okay, all the cells of the phloem are living except the phloem fibers. Okay, why? Because phloem fibers which are there, they contain sclerenchyma. Okay, and sclerenchyma are the dead cells. Okay, you have studied sclerenchyma. Coconut's outer covering is made up of sclerenchyma. It forms a hard structure. When it forms a hard structure, when it matures. Okay, so as the phloem fibers matures, it forms a harder structure. It forms sclerenchyma. Okay, yeah. Now, here, this particular region, in this particular region, the phloem has sieve tubes and sieve cells. Okay, these partitions in between, okay, this partitions in between, okay, these partitions are nothing but they are the, sorry, sieve plates, and these sieve plates have perforations, openings here. Why? Because whatever substance is synthesized need to enter the phloem and it should pass through the sieve plates. Okay, how is it? We will be seeing within a minute. So the phloem has sieve tubes, sieve cells, together called sieve elements. Okay, remember one extra information, angiosperms. Okay, the flowering plants, they don't have sieve tubes. Only remember this. Why is it so? We are not bothered right now. Okay, in this particular topic. Okay, sieve tubes nahi hota unme, angiosperms mein. Okay, so this particular structure, they have sieve elements, sieve tubes, sieve cells, sieve plates. Okay, now these are the living cells, but they don't have nucleus. So you might be thinking now, if there is no nucleus, so how this particular cells will function? Cells function kaise karenge nucleus ke bagair? Okay, so that's why they have set of cells which are called as companion cells. These companion cells are in close association with the sieve structure, sieve cells. Okay, imagine, okay, there is a source. Okay, imagine this is an entire structure wherein the synthesis of that particular carbohydrate takes place. Suppose we say source of sugar. यहाँ से sugar enter हो रहा है. Okay, this is one particular cell. Okay, this is another particular cell. Where is this happening? Within the leaf structure I am talking about. Understanding? Okay, within the leaf structure. We are taking example of leaf right now. Okay, but this happens everywhere. But food is synthesized on the leaf. That's why, okay, the transportation takes place from the leaf to root and then upward to all the parts of the plant. That is apex. Okay, leaf se niche, leaf se upar. Okay, so this is the source. Okay, by the process of photosynthesis, carbohydrate is synthesized, sugar is produced. Now in this cell, the sugar is maximum. Okay, now in this cell, if the sugar is maximum, this is another cell where sugar is minimum. Okay, now from here, the sugar need to be transported via the phloem and reach another cell. Okay, so what happens? How it is transported? Okay, for this particular transportation, energy is required. Okay, that particular energy is in the form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP molecules. Okay, so when the plant is synthesizing a particular food in the form of glucose, that glucose gets converted into sucrose, which is a polysaccharide. Glucose is a monosaccharide. Sucrose is a polysaccharide. Okay, sucrose gives more energy. Sucrose में glucose से ज़्यादा ताकत होती है storage or transportation की. It can help in storage and transportation. It has more energy to store and transport as far as compared to glucose. So glucose gets converted into sucrose. Okay, and where is this sucrose present? Mesophilic cells. Okay, mesophilic cells will have sucrose. Why mesophilic cells? Because mesophilic cells are the cells which are the site of photosynthesis. Are you getting it now? Imagine a leaf in your mind and cross section of that leaf. So kahan pe ho raha hai ye? Okay, in between the mesophilic cells, what are present? Xylem and phloem are present. So unke andar ye ho raha hai. Understanding? Phloem is surrounding the xylem. Xylem is at the center and phloem is surrounding that particular xylem structure. Okay, so basically when the food is synthesized, the food enters from the leaf structure. So when I say food enters from the leaf structure, that is from the mesophilic cell, there are lot of cells. This cell is having maximum food, maximum sugar. So sugar need to be transported from this particular cell. It should have a route so that it reaches to the cell where the food requirement is lesser. Such a transport mechanism, it is called as active transport mechanism. Okay, active transport में क्या होता है? Okay, energy is utilized whenever the transport is with the help of energy or making use of energy. Such a transport is called as active transport. And transportation of food from the leaf to all the parts, that is called translocation. Transpiration, okay, transportation, translocation. Okay, yeah. So from here, the food will enter into the companion cell. From the companion cell, the food will enter into the entire phloem structure. Phloem will have sieve tubes. Sieve tubes will have sieve cells. So whatever sugar is entering, that will enter from the mesophilic cell. Okay, that is from the source. Okay, on the leaf. Okay, it will enter into the companion cells. Companion cells will pass it on to the sieve tubes. Sieve tubes will have sieve cells. So here maximum, here the food or the sugar will be maximum. Now this sugar need to be transported here. For this particular transport, okay, water is required. So what happens from the central xylem? Okay, from the central xylem, remember xylem is at the center of the vascular sheet. So central xylem say water will enter into the phloem. How? Osmosis. Understanding? Okay, here concentration of solute is more. Okay, so from the region of lesser solute concentration to a region of more solute concentration, water will enter. Okay, and this is against concentration gradient. We call it as against the concentration gradient. क्यों? क्योंकि water कहाँ से enter कर रहा है? जहाँ पे कम solute है, वहां से कहाँ enter कर रहा है? जहाँ पर ज्यादा solute है. Are you getting me? क्या है वो solute? Sugar. कहाँ से आया? By the process of photosynthesis, जहाँ से food बना. Okay, source means nothing. जहाँ से sugar आ रहा है. That is leaf में. Understanding? Mesophilic cell. Say companion cell say entire phloem structure, sieve tubes, sieve cells. Okay. At this time, what happens? Water enter from the central xylem into this particular structure. All the way along with the water, the solute will also rush. Okay. Okay. And it will continue. This process will continue. Okay, and where it will go? Again, it will enter into the companion cell, and from the companion cell, it will go to the cell which is having less amount of sugar, and that cell will also get the required amount of sugar. Understanding? This is what happens as far as translocation is concerned. Remember, as I have taught, first you listen to this, recollect, and then go for reading NCERT, because little bit confusion is given. ATP, pressure creation, this, that, etc. No. Okay, remember this. Okay, so again I am repeating, in the entire leaf structure, if I take a cross section of that particular leaf, I will be able to see the palisade layer. Imagination is very important. Palisade, okay, below palisade, spongy tissue, Okay, in between that there is a bundle sheet. Okay, inside the bundle sheet or vascular bundle. Okay, inside that vascular tissues are present. Xylem is at the center. Surrounding it, phloem and parenchyma cells are present. Okay, in between the xylem and phloem there is a structure which make a partition, parallel rows banate hain. Understanding a partition, that is called cambium. Cambium is made up of cambial cells. Okay, now xylem has xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, lignified wall, dead cell. It is a dead cell. Okay, only live tissue in the xylem is parenchyma. Okay, phloem has sieve elements, sieve tubes, sieve cells. Okay, sieve means chani. Okay, sieve cells, sieve tubes. Okay, separated by sieve plates which have perforation. Cell wall, that is phloem wall, is made up of cellulose or cellulosic wall. Okay, now xylem, the transportation takes place, transportation of water takes place, that is called transpirational pull, asset of sac, suction pressure, root pressure which is maximum during night hours. Why? Because stomata is closed during night hours. Okay, daytime, night hours. Okay, phloem, sieve cells, sieve tubes, companion cells. Okay, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Phloem parenchyma stores the food. Sieve elements and companion cell, transportation of food and minerals. Okay, whatever food has been synthesized, that is transported. Okay, phloem fibers as well as xylem fibers, their job is mechanical support. Okay, but phloem fibers are the only dead tissue because it contains sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is dead and hard. Understanding? So whenever during photosynthetic process, during the photosynthesis, in the presence of light and chlorophyll, food is synthesized in the form of glucose. This gets converted into sucrose because sucrose gives maximum energy, okay, for transportation and storage. Stored food is nothing but the starch. Okay, so from the source, the sugar will enter into companion cells. From the companion cells, it will enter into the entire phloem structures. Okay, so companion cells are present outside the sieve element. So it will go to the sieve tubes. Sieve tubes have sieve cells, and through the entire structure, it will go to the next companion cell. This is not the end. I have just drawn to make you understand. Like this, n number of cells are there. Okay, and process continues till the last cell gets equal amount of food. Okay, so it will again go to companion cell, and from the companion cell passed on to the nearby cell which is in requirement of food or which has lack of food. Okay, at the same time, okay, the water from the xylem will enter into the entire phloem structure, sieve tube, sieve cells, and water ke force se. Okay, that particular along with water constituents will also enter companion cells and the required cell with less sugar. How water enters? By the process of osmosis from the region of less solute concentration to a region of more solute concentration against the concentration gradient. Okay, okay. Usually we know a higher concentration to lower, but here it is lower concentration of solute to higher concentration of solute. Now from the phloem, okay, now this I can call it as a food solution. Why I can call it as a food solution? Because solute, the sugar is mixed up, sugar which is the food, it is mixed up with water. So I can call it as a food solution. Okay, now this particular food solution, where it will go? It will go to the palisade tissue, and from the palisade tissue, okay, it will go to the apical region as well as to the roots. Okay, from the leaves, it will go to the apex region, okay, that is upward direction, as well as from the leaf, it will go to the lower direction, that is towards the roots. Okay, and we have already studied where in the roots, storage organs. Okay, corm, tuber, bulb, rhizome, modified root. Okay, all these are nothing but the storage organs. So I can simply say from the growing organ, okay, the food reached to the storage organ. Okay, because it moves in both the direction, the flow, it is called as a bidirectional flow. So the flow of water through xylem is unidirectional, steady, which creates water column. Okay, so water rushes up, and the flow as far as phloem is concerned, it is in both the direction, from the leaf towards the apex, from the leaf towards the root underground. So it is a bidirectional. Okay, so here we complete what all things we have seen today. Structure of a simple plant. Okay, how plants take up raw material, asset of sap, transpirational pull, when is root pressure maximum, what are storage organs, what are growing organs, growing organ, root, stem, leaves, storage organs, root, modified roots, tubers, corms. Okay, corm किसमें होता है, अरबी. Okay, it's called taro. Okay, so that particular thing, structure of xylem, phloem. Okay, difference between xylem, phloem, and transportation of water. Same diagram you can draw if it is asked for 4 marks. Explain the